There we go. All right, we are live, Peter.
So this is our unofficial regular meeting, and I guess we have to do a call to order, and that's a roll call. So I think we're all here. Gay,
Yes, I'm here.
yes, Sonia,
I'm here.
Amy. You're on mute, Amy.
Am I?
You're very quiet. There you are. That's better.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Can you hear me?
And we're missing David today, and of course I'm here because I'm chatting. So I don't know that we have much on today's agenda. I don't see that there's any public participation unless you see that, Sarah.
No, nobody from the public has joined.
Sometimes we do. We don't often have public participation unless there's an issue that's on the docket here.
And
So there
sorry,
really
Peter, just give
isn't.
me a moment. David's giving me a call, so feel free to continue.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, new business is simply the introductions. So I don't know who's actually going to do that or if we're going to introduce ourselves, perhaps. How did you figure on that, Sarah? We'll introduce ourselves. So I don't know. Gay and Sonia know me, Peter. I'm down here. I actually have the office here on Wall Street in Newark. Hi, David.
Oof. Okay, there you go. Thanks.
So we can adjust the record to show David in attendance.
No more. Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome aboard. So we were going to do, I guess, Sarah, you
You
wanted
guys
to do a self-introduction?
Yeah. So for everyone here, I'm Sarah Cruz. I'm with the Recreation and Parks Department, and I'm the city arborist and horticulturist. Um, so I was the staff person for the previous tree advisory committee. This is a newly established commission. So we rewrote the city's tree ordinance, chapter 112, I believe last fall. And really the intention behind rewriting that ordinance and kind of updating a couple of things, including this commission, is that we approved our tree master plan that got adopted last April on Earth Day, fittingly. And some of the recommendations in the tree master plan included, formalizing our structure, roles, and responsibilities, ensuring that there is a strong arm for transparency and public education and outreach. And so, I mean, Peter, am I correct in that you've served on the tree advisory committee since its inception?
2 years post its inception.
Okay.
So
And so my understanding is that committee took on a lot of different shapes and forms. At first, it was essentially our urban forestry department to start with Hal Alvord and Paul Sotnick leading that charge. So really just trying to renew the stewardship and kind of like public outreach part of our urban forestry program. It's really grown a lot over the last few years. I'm going on my third year with the city, and since then we've had new positions, a lot of new grants. Again, the tree master plan, a tree inventory. So we're really just trying to grow this program, and I'm excited to work with you all. I'm here for support and to facilitate. But again, Peter is the chair. So any major items, questions, concerns, send them his way, and then he and I can coordinate on things. But welcome, and thank you guys for committing, to this commission. We're excited.
we'll try not to make the commitment too hard. I will follow up with Sarah a little bit in saying that the inception of the Tree Advisory Committee under Department of Public Works is kind of unique in a way that, being under Hal Albert for whatever reason, and Paul knows better than I, he was very supportive of tree plantings in the city, which is not usual for a public works director. But having said that, because we're under the Department of Public Works, it gives us both a budget and sort of a conduit to be effectual in the city. Whereas, we actually have a place, and, part of my position as chair is to, it seeks to actually strengthen that position, particularly with our associate departments in City Hall. Because we are a resource, and over the last 15 years, we've actually learned a great deal about planting trees and public outreach and pulling programs together, and how we do a variety of things that include the Arbor Day celebrations. We hosted a tree festival for a number of years, which is free to the public, no dollars involved. A lot of that was bringing sort of tree-minded people together and vendors to talk about trees and tree health and, basically ecological systems. A lot of conservancies came, or the conservation groups came to the meet on these sort of tree festival days. That sort of got to a point where we had to pull back a little bit and we went to other venues, more education and more sort of outreach and individual events. For myself, I'm down here on Norwalk and Wall Street, so I'm local all day, available to most of you guys. I think most of us are in town now, right? We're all basically living in town. I think at some point, one of our members moved out and he's no longer sitting on the commission, technically speaking. So we look forward to working with you guys. Maybe a little introduction. Maybe Sonia can go next. Just give a little bit about you and sort of your take on the Urban Forestry Commission. I'm going to have to get used to, UFC. It's like the,
I have to
UFC.
get used to saying that.
I have to practice.
My name is Sonia Oliver. I was part of the Tree Advisory Commission. Sarah, I don't even remember how many years. Was that 4 years, 5 years, something like that?
5 years, I think.
5 years, okay. Um, I enjoy, being a part of this commission. I think that trees are a very important part. And I was very happy when I was tapped to join this commission because I really felt that there was a lot of trees that could be planted, particularly in the South Norwalk area. And I've helped, locate some locations and, even have pointed out a few other locations. One of them came to pass. The others, people changed their minds about before they even sent in the forms. But I think it's very important for us to continue doing the work that we do and because there's so much building being done here that we're losing, our suburban feel, we're losing our town feel, and they're making us look like a city and feel like a city, and I really don't want that. So we need to continue doing what we do. Look forward to continuing to do it and getting to know all of the new people on the commission.
Miss Gay, go for it.
Okay, so my name is Gay McLeod, and I've recently retired, and I worked in the advertising industry in Manhattan for around 40 years. My professional field has provided me with some home communication skills that are useful in working with the public. My passion for tree ecology started with earning a degree in environmental biology, and I've stayed current within this field. My other passions are native gardening, sustainability, rewilding, and maintaining a pesticide-free environment. I've served on boards and committees such as Keep America Beautiful, the City of Norwalk Tree Advisory is vice chairperson for about 15 years, I think, right, Peter?
Yes.
And past president of the West Norwalk Association. As president of the West Norwalk Association, I worked with the schools, the local schools here, to celebrate the city's Arbor Day observance and started an annual cleanup in the area that is still observed today. Last year, I had the pleasure of working with the public and planted about 50 trees, reaching out to the community. So that was a lot of fun. And I still hear from the people to this day. But I would like to welcome formally both Amy and David, and I look forward to working with you and for you to bring in some fresh ideas to the group.
That was good. And you're back. You had taken a few years off. Now we have you back full time, which is
I
good.
did. Now I'm back.
That's
Yeah, I
a
was
very
doing
good
too
thing.
much traveling for work, so I needed to stop the commute and have another life again.
And Amy, you're up.
Can you guys hear me okay? Oh, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry, okay. Well, thanks. I'm very happy to be here and to join the commission. So I'm Amy Verrill. I'm from Norwalk originally. I moved away for college and came back in 2021 to West Norwalk. I'm a landscape architect in New York, and I've been registered for about 11 years, practicing for about 18. And I've been an ISA certified arborist for, I think, about 16 years.
And at one point, I was municipal specialist and track qualified during a period of my career where I was more focused on urban forestry and capital landscape construction with New York City Parks. I didn't maintain those two specific credentials, but once I sort of went back to a traditional landscape architecture design track. But I really enjoyed getting them and maintained the ISA certification. So right now I'm capital project manager with New York State Parks. I've spent most of my career with in public service, either New York City Parks, New York State Parks, New York City Region. So I've got a wide variety of experience from capital landscape design and construction, invasive species management, urban forestry, kind of the gamut. And also a couple of years ago, I became WEDGE certified, which is Waterfront Edge Design Guidelines. So I do a lot of work on waterfronts. So I think I can bring that to Norwalk as well. So I'm really excited to join this commission and look forward to serving my hometown.
I think we can put you to work. Particularly in the waterfront issue, which
Yeah,
is
you got some waterfront.
actually there are issues with the Audubon Society that on another hat I wear, we're talking about waterfronts and how landscape architecture can be more effectual and urban forestry can be more effectual in that realm, if you will.
Yeah.
With that, we'll throw it over to Mr. David.
Hello, how are you? I live in Norwalk, East Norwalk. I retired about 3 years ago. And like Gay, I was in marketing and production in New York for 45 years or so, doing creative services for all sorts of commercials and marketing for various corporations, military divisions. So after I retired, I became involved with the Aspetuck Land Trust, and I then became a graduate of the Master Woodland Manager program that's put on by the Connecticut Parks and Forest Association. So then I became the head trail steward for the Wilton Weston Forest Block with the Aspetuck Land Trust. So that's about a 300-acre section that straddles the Weston Wilton border between Wampum Road, if you know where that is, and Georgetown. So I'm also a member of the Tennis Friends of Oak Hills Park. So we've done a lot of work there at Oak Hills to upgrade the facility, to engage our community, to make people more involved, and I think we've made a huge difference there. And I'm really looking forward to, engaging with this commission to come up with ideas to engage the community, um, to increase the canopy, which is the number one priority, I think, of the commission. That's it.
That is part of our master plan.
Yeah.
One of the aspects of that concept, David, is that the tree canopy is reliant on systems. We talked about this with Sarah, in the past, that when we talk about tree canopies and we talk about improving the sort of cover and positioning of plants and trees, that's all part of a system. And that's where the educational aspects of what we do comes in. Because so often we just, we see what's above ground, but it's what goes on below the grade that's kind of important to us. And both you and Amy have, experience in broader landscapes that, we certainly will value moving forward here.
Great. I have a question. Are we always going to meet via Zoom, or we have opportunities to meet in person as well?
That was actually a question for Sarah. The way it's written on the agenda, when we get to our meeting schedule, I think we can meet in person. That is optional, is it not?
So, and I confirmed this with the city clerk, pretty much all commission and committee meetings are virtual at this point. If you all would like to do like an annual in-person meeting or something, we could totally set that up. But pretty much like the norm is that all committee meetings are virtual at this point.
Can you explain why? I mean, I think we have better reactions by meeting face to face. So we don't have that option of going to the second floor meeting room and meeting face to face. It can't be a hybrid.
I mean, that's like I spoke with the city clerk to see, this is one of the first new commissions in a while. But that is the meeting norm at this point. I can get more specifics on why, Gay, if you'd like.
Well,
And-
are meetings limited only to these every 4 weeks, or there are times we can have more informal get-togethers to discuss things?
No, so
This is one of those little caveats. If you can explain it more clearly, Sarah, that our meeting officially
no,
has
we
to be.
need to be very intentional on meetings because of FOIA requirements. So we can't necessarily have any kind of discussion or um, if there are more than 3 members present at some form of event where any sort of commission business is discussed, that's technically considered a meeting. The public must be allowed to attend, etc. And so we pretty much stick to this monthly meeting schedule. There are events like Arbor Day, we do touch a truck and things like that. I would say, Peter, if there's a different meeting frequency that you all wanted to discuss, we could do that.
I mean, for me, a month goes by pretty quick, as it always does. But there are communications in between meetings. So things that we're working on, there is email transfer, communications, phone calls. We can do that. We just can't meet more than 3 of us together and discuss official business technically. But the email volleys can go on. I would, Sarah, talk to the city clerk and see what the implications are if we actually meet at City Hall, because it does matter to meet together, and certainly we like meeting together.
Sure.
We're all local, so it can be done. My office here is certainly accommodational, but I don't have an elevator for, public access. That was a technicality I had to deal with earlier on. So,
I'm
Gay,
open
again,
to the meeting open in person if that's what the commission decides on. But I'm actually perfectly happy with virtual meetings. I'm sorry, I got to throw that out there.
so I don't know, Amy, what your sense is. I do know we should have an informal gathering regardless, because I never met you guys before, so that would be good. Perhaps that's a non-official cocktail hour.
Yeah, I would love to meet everyone in person. For me maybe I don't know. I would like the option to do either. Like if we were able to do them hybrid, because I usually am in the city on Tuesdays and but yeah, no, I would love a chance to meet in person.
Yeah, Peter, why don't we discuss maybe the April, because the 24th is coming up soon. Maybe the April
Right.
meeting can be in person, but again, pretty much all committee and commission meetings, aside from public hearings and common council, are virtual, and it's partly to accommodate as many people as possible. It's also for city staff. Some of us have union requirements and things like that. But I can try to get a little bit more of an answer from the city clerk.
Yeah, let's see if we can do the next one in-house. It can be on, I mean, because it's on the smart board, so the public can engage.
Mhm.
So it was a hybrid, as Gay was talking about. And Gay and I sometimes will go to City Hall, and Sonia and Rich would stay online, if you will. So let's see if we can do that for April.
And then,
Sarah, when we respond back to email, there used to be that rule that we could only respond one person at a time. Do you remember that? Are we still going by that requirement, or has that changed?
yeah, I'm gonna just skip to the general procedures part of the agenda, if that's all right.
I'm sorry,
We're
I'm probably
asking all the
questioning
You're jumping agenda.
Okay.
Because honestly, the primary meeting reason for the meeting today is to approve a schedule so we are official and to go over kind of the housekeeping items. So sorry, your question, Gay. So I encourage everybody to review the welcome packet that you got. Everyone's been sworn in, is that correct?
Yes.
Cool. So the packet that you should have received from the city clerk's office includes information on FOIA. It's a very brief rundown, but it's very, very important to review that, as well as guidelines on ethics rules. in terms of FOIA, the main things that we need to be sure of is that we get our agenda out on time, which is my job, but items, usually we try to post the agenda on Friday afternoons at the latest. So the earlier that you guys can send items to Peter and I, the better. Again, if there are 3 or more folks from the commission outside of a regular meeting and there's any commission business discussed, that is technically supposed to be a public meeting. And then via email, that can sometimes be considered a discussion of commission business since everybody is on that email chain. When I reach out to everybody and I request items for the agenda, just try to respond to just me and Peter. Just that email chain is not a FOIA violation in any way. However, if it turns into a discussion on reply all, then we can kind of get into some trouble. So just be sure to mostly send things to Peter and I.
And we, most of the stuff, most of the items we do are not controversial, but some can be. Because we are in the city realm and trees are very noted by most people.
And then roll call, like this is something that we didn't have on our previous agendas for TAC. But roll call does need to be a verbal confirmation of folks that are in the room. If you're having technical difficulties, just shoot me a text or something, and then I can reply on your behalf. Agenda items ahead of time. And then just kind of housekeeping previously. So all committee and commissions, the requirement for public participation, which is on the agenda every single time, is that there is a limit to 3 minutes per speaker and it must pertain to an item on the agenda. So just so everybody is aware, but again, please review everything in your packet. It's really helpful. And then I encourage anybody who hasn't kind of flipped through the tree master plan. That is pretty helpful. That's a huge part of what you all are taxed with in terms of the advisory nature and stuff. So any other questions on general procedures?
If you're not going to attend the meeting, if you just let Sarah I know.
Yeah.
So we don't wait.
That'd be great. And then 3 is a quorum for us. So.
Right. Because there was a time when I was traveling more, it became challenging. It was certainly challenging before we did virtual, and that's all pre-COVID. This is a post-COVID world we're in right now.
And then Peter, I should have written for point B on new business nomination of vice chair.
Yes, I saw point B there that we're looking to nominate Gay as sort of a vice chair. I don't know if Sarah had reached out to you, Gay. I know I did not, but looking for someone to do a vice chair because I do travel from time to time and not always able to pick up the slack here.
And this can just be a nomination right now and a vote at the meeting on the 24th, just FYI.
Right. So I'm nominating Gay. I assume she'll accept and we can vote on it next week.
Wait. Hello. Well, I don't know. I haven't been on previous boards. I'd like to get other people's involvement. I mean, yes, I would love it, but David doesn't know me and Amy doesn't know me. So perhaps they have questions for me that I didn't cover in the 30-second introduction. So just to be fair, would that be all right with you, Sarah and Peter?
Sure.
Holding
Sure.
out? Yeah.
Item number B.
Any questions for me?
Not really. You've been on this before and you know the drill. So I think sounds like you might be a great candidate for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
We don't want to throw the new people into this.
I would say I don't have any questions. I appreciated your introduction, and I agree. You also sound like a good candidate.
Okay. All right. Yes, that's fine. I'd be happy to help you out. Thank you for asking.
We're giving Sonia a break on this one.
So Peter, would you like to vote at the next meeting and we'll just consider it a nomination for now?
Right.
Perfect.
So we're looking at the schedule. I think you all looked at it was on the printout. It's generally this time. We found that Tuesdays typically are good times to meet. They don't tend to conflict with other meetings. Sometimes they run into zoning meetings or public hearings that are run in City Hall. But generally, most other committees people are on are usually Thursdays and, Wednesdays,
And
and Mondays and
Monday.
Fridays never work. Although I have two meetings back to back on Mondays. So, unless there's a significant issue, we tend to meet at 6 o'clock on the last Tuesday of the month, sorry.
Oh, we can't keep it to the first Tuesday?
It's generally the last Tuesday, correct, sir? We just,
Yeah,
we,
that's what we used
we,
to have.
we didn't have time to put the agenda out for last week's, Sonia.
Uh, it's totally up to you guys. I was just working off of what the tree advisory committee went on, but if you all would like to change the day, the week, that's totally up to the
Does
commission.
anybody have any objection to it being the first Tuesday versus the last Tuesday? Reason I say first Tuesday is because this is the only meeting that I have the last week of the month. And if I had no meetings the last week of the month, I'd be so happy because all my meetings are like first Wednesday, first Monday, second Wednesday, second Tuesday.
Actually, one important point I want to add is that the Public Works Committee meets at this exact time each month. So if there's ever times where Chris Torrey, the tree warden, may need to join, that may be a conflict,
Okay.
but still, this is totally up to you guys.
I mean, for me, I have meetings on the second Monday of the month, so this would, mm, interesting. I do know, I'm just trying to think, I'm thinking through the calendar in my head. Threw a curveball at me, Sonia.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's nice not to have this conflict with other meetings. Um,
I mean, if it's gonna be a conflict, then we stick with the last Tuesday of the month. I just, it just would be kind of nice not to have any meetings for at least 1 week out of the month.
Doesn't make any difference to me.
I'm just thinking out loud. I suppose we could try the first Tuesday of the month. Is that what you're proposing?
Mhm.
Let me look ahead.
If it conflicts with something, let's just leave it like it, like we've had it the last Tuesday.
You're saying it possibly conflicts with Public Works, Sarah?
Yes, first Tuesday of the month is the Public Works Committee, so.
Yeah, that could be problematic in some ways.
Yeah,
For
so let's just
you, it's easier, I
let's
think,
just leave it.
let's leave it where it is. And
Hmm. I'm okay with that. It was just a
because
suggestion.
Public Works and us, I mean, we're part of Public Works and that we may have to double up at some point. All right. So then Sarah's got the 2 days that were just shifted because of the holidays, right? So,
Yeah, so in November and December, our meetings will fall on the same week as holidays. So traditionally, in the past, we have not met in December. Up to you all if you would like to meet in November or December. We can also always call a special meeting outside of a regular
We
meeting
have
if we need
something
to
that we
check in.
need to discuss and then we call a meeting. If not, then, you know, it's always nice to not have to worry about this kind of stuff during the holidays.
so, but we would hold November 24th. That's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
It is the Tuesday before
But
Thanksgiving.
I think we would hold that. We would decide in October if we actually do that meeting. And then December 22nd, we know is a non-starter generally. So
Right.
at the November meeting, we could decide if we hold one in December or not. It's not unusual for us not to do December 22nd.
Yeah, correct. You can also always cancel a meeting if you all
Right.
decide.
Absolutely.
So to David's point, we can always call a special meeting to meet, less than 4 weeks apart. I do know the months go by fast. So
Cool.
do I hear a motion to accept the schedule as proposed?
So
I
moved.
so move.
Yes. Approve.
Yay, yay,
Yay.
approved. You're approved. So I think that's the official agenda for today. I think for next month, we'll probably have a little bit of homework to look at the tree master plan if we have not already. I'll need to look at that again. And Sarah and I will have to think about what agenda items are coming up in addition to possibly hearing from each of you as to what type of activities you'd like to look at doing moving forward. And, things don't move all that quickly sometimes here, so getting it up front, in next week's agenda would be helpful, so we can pre-think a bit about it.
Yeah, something to keep in mind is April is Earth Month. We got Arbor Day on Earth Day. Lots of environmental events, so that might be good for
Yeah.
next meeting. But as of right now that y'all have approved that schedule, the next meeting will be on March 24th, same time via Zoom. Then we'll discuss the next meeting about potentially meeting in person for the April meeting on
Right.
the 28th.
Cool.
And I think I can't even find my calendar. It's always lost. And at that next meeting, I was just an informal gathering, non-business oriented. I just don't know when. I don't know if we have any suggestions, once the weather breaks, that's why I'm sort of putting it off to the next meeting. Once the weather breaks, we'll probably meet somewhere perhaps, and we'll see where we go from there.
And then Peter, I will invite Jeff Scher from the Tree Alliance to our next first regular meeting so that they all can be involved as well, and we can keep up to date with what they're up to.
That would be great. So do I have any other business to attend to? Any new ideas, any new thoughts, comments?
Well, I guess you wonder in these meetings, for example, when are there opportunities for brainstorming among the members and things like that? If it's, I mean, is there an agenda item called brainstorming or,
So
when does that sort of thing occur?
that's in some part, it's the agenda item for some sort of concept. So David, I would say that if you want to talk perhaps about, educational outreach would just be a topic on the agenda, and that would be AKA brainstorming,
Okay, got it.
that type of thing. So put that sort of the larger general topic out, and we can approach it that way.
Okay,
There are items like Tree City USA, all the documentation that goes on with that information is an agenda item typically. So that's what I'm saying. When you read through the tree master plan, just breeze through that, and perhaps there are some ideas that we should talk about in the April meeting. And we should plan a full hour plus for the April meeting. We do try to keep these at an hour.
hmm
In the past, in other committees, when you start going over an hour, people do get, a little disengaged. So we do.
Peter,
Let's see.
before we sort of came to a final halt about the committee, we were talking about the roundabout going on Richards Avenue, and I had attended a meeting in Norwalk Community College, and we were going to sort of adopt that as a sort of a project for us.
Yes.
That was when the Tree Advisory Committee existed. So I'd like to know, and also ask Sarah at the same time, if you've had any conversations with the status of that, just to make sure that there are trees planted along Richards Avenue when they redo it, and in particular in the center of the roundabout, that we can put a tree there. We might have some say in the matter. I'm just concerned they might be putting something in there that's not really of value. We needed details. In fact, Peter, you gave me a long list of what to ask them about the soil conditions, about the drainage, who's taking care of the watering. I don't have that list in front of me, but that you gave me. So I'd like to know if we can kind of invite someone from Public Works or who's overseeing and doing the building of it. Sarah, perhaps you know the person, perhaps you're even seated on the same floor as they are. If we could get some kind of update before we reach a stage where everything is already in place and we cannot make any changes to it, as happened before in the city of Norwalk. In particular, trees, protecting some of the mature trees so we don't lose them along the way right in front of Norwalk Community College.
Yeah, I would say I haven't heard any updates on the timeline for that. But any projects that are coming from TMP or engineering, if there's anything tree related, they do go through Paul, who handles our permitting,
Okay.
as a deputy tree warden. So there always is that checkpoint, but Gay, I can just check one about the schedule, and then Peter, we can add the city agenda for March for 2 weeks from now.
Add to the agenda.
There's
What-
also a roundabout going in down in the Meadow Street area.
Yes.
So we can also look into making sure that we're, got some trees and stuff going in on that one as well. And I know there's an area they said it's all overgrown and it's invasive species, but there's an area that has a lot of greenery down there that they are planning on taking all of that greenery out.
Okay.
So those type of projects are where we can be helpful. And the concept, as Gay mentioned, is getting there and helpful before it goes through design entirely. And this has not been an easy task. Amy and David, if you've worked in other municipalities, we know that the design plans get pushed along and then it's, oops, sorry, we haven't accommodated the green materials at a systems level. So working with Sarah to sort of stay ahead of the projects is one of the goals that I briefly alluded to in the introduction, that, in my mind, this is working as a resource for the city departments and not being reactionary, but a little more proactive in getting them to understand that we are a valued resource, particularly with the combined expertise here. We can work, as consultants at some level to be helpful when they look at the plans. So that's part of, being a proactive commission in a positive way, as opposed to being, sort of negative, if you will.
Yeah, I would say like major purpose in the advisory nature of this commission is like these example projects can really help us develop better policies, procedures, best practices internally, and then also in ordinance at a certain point. And so although there are no formal plan reviews that go through this commission, it is really good for these types of things to kind of come on by. Like Gay has been involved in the process. That's been great to kind of have reports back and have a voice in that project. So.
And we've seen, and right now I still have not commented on the structural soils spec that Sarah gave me months ago. But we are seeing the city move forward on concepts such as structural soils. Amy, this is also where your experience in having dealt with municipalities and their construction methodologies is helpful, because we've seen what works, we've seen what hasn't worked. So from that perspective, we do have resources now that we can help contribute to the city.
Yeah, we have a very well-rounded group. I'm very excited.
Oh no,
and from all over the city, which is kind of cool.
Sorry, we're covered.
That's important.
Yeah, well, I've yet to get a tree in Silvermine, because that's, as Hal would say, that's Sherwood Forest. I can't create a need. But that is not necessarily the truth. I mean, we have, perhaps, from an ecological system, we might look at the tree master plan and say, where are the systems that come to the city? And I'll tell you right off the bat, Norwalk River is one of them. So as we contribute resources to the urban canopy, where do we, put them where it's successful on the bigger global, picture. So, that's the, estuaries, that's the coastal frontage. It's a lot of, we have a really diverse city when it comes to that.
I have another question before we end it, if that's okay. So Sarah, do we have a budget for planting trees? And if so, what's the amount, and when are we starting the program? Because I'm already getting requests.
Yeah, so at the 24th, the meeting on the 24th, I can give a a budget update for our capital budget, both within
March
DPW
24?
and parks.
Okay.
And then our grant projects. So we
Okay.
have a new tree planting contract kicking off. So I'll have a kind of big update there for our Inflation Reduction Act funding that we got.
Okay. And
We
so
do have some funding for the spring, but what I really have to track is what funding we have that's available to spend in which neighborhoods, which is
Okay.
a little difficult to.
Okay.
Right, because of the grants, we're our ARP grant is pretty much run out, right?
ARPA is spent, but two of them are like South Norwalk, Hospital Hill, specific neighborhoods, and environmental justice tracks. So yeah, on the 24th, I can have a dollar value ready, okay, and let you know
Okay.
roughly what we can accommodate for the spring.
Okay. And do you need help with creating a brochure that we were going to hand out to the people that we are planting trees at? Just information about how to mulch a tree, how to trim a tree, how to water a tree, etc. So
I'll let you know because my intern David, he has a couple of things that he had kind of almost wrapped up last fall. So I'll let you know where those are at, how we want to utilize them.
okay, let me know how I can help you out with that. Is that the same David from last year?
Yes.
Oh,
Well, he's
great.
not here anymore, but I have many materials from him. So
Okay, that's terrific. Okay, I'll stop asking questions for now.
no, the
Okay,
marketing and you.
Okay, that'll be good.
you
Good.
can ask questions.
Right. I'm done for now.
So we're at the 45-minute mark, sort of. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
So moved. I guess
I second.
we have official business. Very good. Well, welcome aboard, and we've got a few years to get a few things done.
Okay, nice meeting you all.
All right. Nice meeting everyone. Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Good night.